I'm Steven Tedder. I just graduated from Brentwood High School, and I'll be a freshman in college. On the spring break mission trip, we helped restore a couple houses that were damaged by Hurricane Isaac in New Orleans. We did anything from sanding and mudding to painting, and we planted a tree in the ladies' front yard, and she really enjoyed that. The church that we stayed at on the mission trip, it was a really small church, and they included us in their Maundy, Thursday service. What they did, they stood in a circle and they fed communion to the person next to them, and that was something new for us, and that was really interesting. I learned that I would much rather do something like this and go to a nice resort or Seaside or Destin. This is much more fulfilling, and I had a great experience with it. Once I got back from the mission trip, I started taking the idea of going into the ministry more seriously, and as a result of the trip, I've made my major religious studies. My idea of missions have definitely changed based on this trip. Beforehand, I thought that all missions were just, go work a day for a couple hours and then go back and lay by a pool, but I definitely feel like we did a lot of good for a couple of families, and I think it's a worthwhile adventure.
My name is Nathan Keffer. I go to Woodland Middle School. I'm going into 8th grade. On Juby Tour, we went to St. Louis, Missouri, and we sang at retirement homes for the physically and mentally disabled for children and adults. We performed a musical from the 70s called Godspell. On Juby Tour, we went up to the St. Louis Arch, looked down, and then we performed at a pavilion right below the arch. Before we actually went on the tour, we went on a rehearsal kind of trip. And at one of the homes that we went to, this lady started playing on the drum set that we had, and she was one of the mentally disabled women, and she started banging out on the drums, and it was really cool to watch her be herself with God. I learned that it's fun to talk to people after we perform. The people in the crowd like to talk to us, and we like to talk to them about their story, like where they came from and how they got to be a member of the place that they're in. My faith has gotten stronger with God because the worship after each day was amazing, and we got to learn more about God through the teachers and the people who we were hanging out with.
My name is Reagan, and I'm going to be a sophomore at Ravenwood. The stuff we did at the Nashville Mission trip was kind of centered around serving the unhoused. So we would go and we would do like food lines for them, and we helped renovate houses, and we did a foot clinic for them, and just kind of getting to know them, interviewing them, learning their story, and that stuff. I had this really awesome experience with this guy named Ben that we talked to who works for the Contributor, and just like he had a lot of stories, one of them being, his mom, he showed us a scar where his mom like stabbed him and shot him and all this stuff, and he's 9 years sober and a recovering alcoholic, but he still has like a good outlook on life, if that makes sense. Like he's still determined, and it just makes me feel like I should be more determined, because I know I'm really lazy sometimes, but I don't know, he just kind of changed the way I looked at things. Something I learned about myself from this trip was that I just really like doing this. I like going out and just listening to people and understanding and like caring for them and for their stories. And something I learned about God is that he's not gonna treat anyone better. Like there is no better person in God's eyes. It's just like an even playing field, and you shouldn't be one to judge because he doesn't. My faith has changed and grown from this experience in the sense that I realize that God can help anyone with anything, and that you just need to trust him through all that you do. And I know that's a really overused phrase because, obviously you're supposed to trust God. I mean, he's God, but I just had a deeper realization, and I can look back on other people's stories.